How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Token, and today we are back with our second VGC money match as we had myself, Token, against no one other than Uncle Lou. He's a kind of quirky, funny guy that makes videos nonstop about TCPI, the Pokemon International company. He loves making videos on them. Probably heard of him. If you haven't, there'll be a link in the description to his channel so you guys can go check him out. He's also known as the guy who brought Tentacruel to a VGC 17 tournament and did well with it. So that may also be a way you know of him. Today, though, I am joined by no one other than the mastermind behind this project.
Yo! Yo, 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 yo! It's Snooze. What's up?
Yes, I am joined by Snooze VGC, aka Preston Clark. So yeah, we both decided we'd commentate on this battle. Sorry about the technical difficulties that we did have in the first VGC money match as to why both of us weren't there. There was just a bunch of technical difficulties. We got everything figured out from here moving on, so everything should be pretty peachy. Once again, though, thank you guys for tuning in and supporting this. It means the world because we really want this. This is not just for us. This is for everybody and the benefit of the entire circuit. So we really want this to be as big as possible, so any support that we can get with this to help it reach a wider audience, or just for you guys supporting it, it means the world to us, so thank you guys so much. Anyways, though, like I said, yes, myself against Uncle Lou. If you don't know, me and Lou are really good friends. He's one of the first few people that I became pretty good friends with in the VGC community, and he just so happens to have also went to the Anaheim. He did to play in the Anaheim Open. He actually qualified for Worlds, but he ended up dropping day 2. So in the point of the Anaheim Open was obviously to have a reason for spectators to not only be able to spectate Worlds, but also be able to compete while there, so give an extra incentive for people to go watch. But it was also so that those day 1 Worlds players that get knocked out can also just partake in the Anaheim Open afterwards, so that they have a little reason to make their trip feel a little more worthwhile if they so happen to end up dropping out. That's what occurred with him. We ended up and thinking it was right before round 3. I may be incorrect, round 3 or 4. We ended up running into each other, talking it up, and then we both rushed over kind of late to that round, and it was like, wait, I play some guy named Lewis, and he's like, I play some guy named Jeremy. Turns out we played each other, and we're just like, what the heck? And we had a pretty fun set. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of freeze hacks. My mud set was frozen like 3 turns, so I was like, alright, I call Mulligan. We need to have another match against each other. Unfortunately, though, I am at a point where I just haven't been practicing VGC 17 as much as I'd like. I don't have any more competitions coming up, so I'm a decent bit rusty. However, though, we did still have a little fun set here for you all, so we're gonna commentate this, and hopefully you guys do enjoy it. And once again, just thank you guys so much for viewing. What Pokemon do you see on your screen, Preston, if you just want to kind of name off each of our teams?
So for Uncle Lou, he got Porygon 2, Arcanine, Torkoal, Tapu Bulu, Tapu Lele, and Metagross. And then on your side, you got the Mimilax combo with Muck, Aerodactyl, Tapu Koko, and Ninetales.
I sure do. This was my most recent team I was messing around with on Showdown. It didn't really have... It had like relative success, like it would win a bunch of games in a row and then it would just start losing a few games in a row, so it was nothing too crazy. I just kind of wanted to, I wanted to give Aerodactyl another chance just because of Skydrop. I think Skydrop is still a really interesting mechanic that has a lot of underrated qualities that it can bring about for a team, especially with a Pokemon that needs support like Snorlax to reach its full potential. I thought Aerodactyl can do some cheeky things and help Snorlax be Snorlax in this format. And then Ninetales obviously for like Auroraville. It's actually Light Clay, not Focus Sash, so that the Auroraville stays as long as possible. Mainly for Muck as well. I do think Muck is really good, but sometimes it struggles to stay on the field. But if you can get an Auroraville up that stays around on the field, then you can really make Muck annoying to deal with. And then obviously just the notorious Mimilax combo, and then Tapu Koko because it's the best Pokemon in the format in my personal opinion. So I also wanted to make sure I had Tapu Koko, especially just because I hate dealing with Smeargle without a Tapu Koko. But yeah,
It looks like on Lou's side though, He has a couple combinations you can go with. Obviously, there's like the Porygon 2 Torkoal combo, but I have to wonder if this is the Tapu Lele Metagross combo where it's Choice Band Metagross using Zen Headbutt and Terrain.
Yes, when I was looking at his team, I obviously thought it could be that. But then when I saw Tapu Bulu as well, it made me think that his Arcanine was Bulldoze, so that Metagross could be Weakness Policy and he can Bulldoze into it. Yeah, so that he can Bulldoze into his Metagross and then it does even less damage because of the Tapu Bulu being around. And just overall Tapu Bulu really helping his team shine with its grassy terrain because of the fact that he is running dual fire types. And one of the biggest issues as to why people didn't explore other fire types like Torkoal more during the format and like Marowak is because of the fact that Arcanine just seems so superior. So that's why people always were having trouble going towards them. So that's why I was thinking, alright, maybe Bulu just is really key towards supporting this team and he's doing like a Bulldoze Metagross thing, but then he's also using Torkoal to make Flare Blitz hit like a truck. With Sun as well. So I was definitely saw some combinations like that. I was definitely fearing the Bulldoze Metagross thing a lot. So I kind of tried to lead accordingly, bring Muck to some games and everything, and see what I can do around that. But the main thing I was thinking of is how am I going to deal with Torkoal, though? I feel like Torkoal put the most pressure on my entire team to deal with. So I was just trying to think of how can I not over-prioritize taking out Porygon 2 to where Torkoal's just kind of left sitting there, but also try to take out Porygon 2 before it's able to support Torkoal and put Torkoal in a good position. So that's kind of what I was thinking, especially going into the second game after this first game. But alright, let's just click play and go into it. So 1, 2, 3, and play. Alright, so looks like Lou's gonna lead with Arcanine and Porygon 2.
Which makes me wonder, he has to be going for a Trick Room here, I feel like. That there's no way. Oh, okay, so you taunted it. I wonder if he's gonna read into that, or if and he does. So that's smart on his part to know what Aerodactyl can carry. I honestly never know what Aerodactyl will actually do.
Yeah, actually, do you want to pause the replay real quickly?
Yeah.
Put your speed on normal if it's not already.
Oh, is yours mine's kind of slow anyways, I guess. Okay.
Is it? Yeah. Okay, yeah, right. my speed was actually on fast as well, but you said he made that read and that was a little bit quicker than it happened on mine, so let's just both make sure we're on normal.
Okay, let's hit reset.
Yeah, let's reset it. Yeah, we'll reset it. Now we're both on normal speed, so we're starting over and we'll just hop right back into it. So 1, 2, 3, play. Alright, yes. Arcanine, Porygon 2 lead for Lou, as I lead with the Aerodactyl and Tapu Koko. But yeah, Aerodactyl lead because I did envision the Porygon 2 being led. However, though, obviously he can always read that and go for an attack with it, especially on a Ferrell Pokemon like Aerodactyl, which, as you guys saw, is exactly what he did. So that didn't work out too well for me. And I wanted to make a prediction as I strongly felt that the Arcanine wasn't going to stay in, so I wanted to just go for Volt Switch with Tapu Koko, but I didn't have the balls there.
I think what a good lead here would have been actually your Mimilax, or maybe Tapu Koko Mimikyu, and you Trick Room and Volt Switch out into the Snorlax.
Yeah, and I realized that afterwards. Yeah,
I think that would have been a better lead for you in that position. And I feel like he doesn't really want to Trick Room at this point because he might think that you have the Snorlax in the back trying some way to counter his Trick Room. But he makes that awesome read, actually, into the Never-Ending Nightmare, which is very impressive.
Yeah, that read worked out very well from him. I honestly, because of the fact that my Mimikyu is in Special, Arcanine became a huge issue for Mimilax to be able to put out damage. So then I over-prioritized trying to put out damage with Mimikyu and started going for the Never-Ending Nightmare. And I honestly didn't really need to go for that at all there. And I feel like that was one of the key plays that kind of shifted momentum because I not only lost my Z move, it also just didn't do anything. So I didn't work out well at all for me. And then here he's just able to get in his Torkoal as well against my 2, and I try to make an over prediction here of going for Trick Room, as I assumed he was going to go for Trick Room as well, but he just went for an Ice Beam and made a really good play.
Yeah, it seems like you were trying to play very aggressive, trying to make the really hard reads, and Lou is just playing very smart, very slow pace, kind of making you set things up for him in a way that he can get the position he wants to have his Torkoal in to just basically wreck the rest of your team. He's also did really well at cycling Intimidates with the Arcanine, making it so that there wouldn't be any chance for you to really one-shot this Torkoal with the Pokemon you had in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it mainly started with that over prediction with the Mimikyu, and then from there with me also setting up Trick Room for him, assuming that he would be setting it up that turn. That kind of, especially with him having Torkoal on the field, that definitely kind of threw the game strongly in his favor. So it's kind of over from there. I do think that the Mimikyu Lax would have been a really nice lead there. I just kept thinking for some reason in the back of my head that that's too predictable. But sometimes you just got to go with what works for a team, and that works for this team. So you can just kind of see the rust in that game of me just kind of I kind of overthought and kind of put myself at a disadvantage because of overthinking and not just allowing my team to flow and work the way that it's supposed to work. And then Lou made some really good plays. He switched in Porygon 2 on the Never Ending Nightmare. He got in Torkoal at a point where it wasn't damaged before it came in, and he also got solid damage off on Aerodactyl so that its Focus Sash was already broken. He played that game really well, considering that I also overpredicted, but he's still not at all to discredit him. He made some really good plays in that game. So we're going to migrate over to the second replay, and we're going to see how this game goes now. Okay. So for me going into the second game, I was pretty much thinking I got to get rid of Porygon 2 before it can set up Trick Room, because if Trick Room gets up, Torkoal becomes too much of an issue. So going into the second game, 100% my focus was on getting rid of Porygon 2. I still, once again though, hadn't been playing much at all, and I also was once again thinking that Mimikyu Lax was just too predictable. So I was just once again overthinking, which put myself at a disadvantage. However though, this game does go better though. So let's just hop into this game now. So 1, 2, 3, play.
So something to notice also from last game is that Lou was not in any hurry to set up Trick Room. He was just happy, I feel like, setting up Sun and then just letting Arcanine Flare Blitz your team. It outsped pretty much everything that you brought. It would do massive damage to everything, and Torkoal could just chip away at what you had. And I think that's something that you would have to kind of recognize going into game 2.
Yeah, exactly. And I did start to realize that, but then I also in the back of my mind thought maybe he will try to go harder on the Trick Room out, thinking that I might under-prioritize stopping it. So that's something else I was thinking. Right here, though, I'm going to pause it right there, though. Right there, you guys just saw that so some huge things happened right there. So what first happened was I also was very much so afraid of Sun this game. So I brought Ninetales wanting a compensating weather. However, though, my Ninetales isn't even Focus Sash, so I do think that was mistake number one, was even bringing Ninetales. There was no need to bring Ninetales into this game because it's not even Sash. So it kind of, especially because of we saw how much in the first game, how much Lou depended on his Arcanine to do damage. So that just shows me right there that there was no need to bring Ninetales because it's just going to be in constant fear of a Flare Blitz from Arcanine considering. However, though, Lou makes a bunch of good plays. One, he assumes I'm not going to stay in with Ninetales and goes for Snarl to break Mimikyu's disguise and not really have to take any Flare Blitz recoil on whatever switches in. So that was good play number one.
It's even a good play even if you didn't switch, because then it neuters kind of whatever power your Ninetales did have.
And agreed. However, though, my main purpose with Ninetales wasn't to go for damage, it was to go for Aurora Veil. So I feel like more so he was kind of predicting it to switch out, because I feel like otherwise he would have kind of just tried to get rid of it more so. If he wasn't trying to break Mimikyu's its disguise. So anyways, from there, then I feel like this is the game-changing play in this game, and it is that Toxic that he went for on the Ninetales slot. In no way did I expect him to go for a Toxic on a Feral Pokemon like Ninetales, and I thought he assumed that I also had a Focus Sash on Aerodactyl and nothing, and considering that Aerodactyl almost never runs a different item than Focus Sash, so I thought he assumed I had Focus Sash on Aerodactyl. and a Light Clay on Ninetales as I do have. So I assumed in no way would he go for a Toxic on a Pokemon that's already pretty frail. However, though, he went for a Toxic on that Sun. I switched in Snorlax, and that was the absolute worst thing that could have happened, because in this game I'm betting so much on Snorlax being able to put me in a good position, but it's already Toxic, and that's going to make it way too hard for it to do damage. And then once again, I over-prioritized trying to do damage with Mimikyu, and I should have saved its Ghostium Z, so I could go for a Z Destiny Bond, and maybe then Snorlax can maybe stay around a little bit longer. But I just went for the Ghostium Z because I really wanted Arcanine gone as well, so that a Torkoal couldn't come in and then Arcanine's Flare Blitz start doing too much damage once again. But that didn't really work out too well for me. So we're going to see if I can turn the tables around here. So we'll resume the game now.
Yeah, from turn 1, you're already behind with that Toxic. And
yeah, I'm very much so.
And that was a very, if that was a read, that was a very good read. That just neuters really your only option to take out this Torkoal, because Snorlax, it's really going to be the only thing that stands between Torkoal winning and just like obliterating your team. And now that it's Toxic and the Sun up and the Flare Blitz, there's just not much it can do from there. It's too slow. Trick Room's not up, and it's just kind of in a tough spot, you know.
Yeah, it's in a very tough spot. I was praying somehow that Toxic wouldn't do enough after I protect it to where that Snorlax could still be around.
No, dude.
To where it could still be around.
Yeah, I didn't think that'd take it out either.
I thought it wouldn't take it out, but unfortunately that Toxic damage did 17%, which is what I had left. So Snorlax goes down without doing anything for me in this game, which is very much so tragic. Ninetales does come in and does mitigate the Sun, but however,
so much.
Yeah, but however though, it still can't. Historical's still gonna do so much damage with its Eruption because it's at full health. And I had to knock off Porygon 2 because it still is way too bulky and would just stay around. But yeah, things aren't looking good at all once again.
But let's talk though. Z move Torkoal. That is an interesting choice.
I definitely agree. It's a very interesting choice to look at. However, though, it does heaps of damage. It really does a lot if you keep your Torkoal at a good amount of health, so that Eruption still does the full amount of damage. And it even allows, if you do get lowered to a lower amount of health, it allows you to get that extra power on Eruption, so that you aren't just so codependent on keeping it at a good amount of health, because Eruption does work with the amount of health you do have on your Torkoal. So once again, Torkoal does obliterate a lot of my team and puts me all my Pokemon in the graveyard. But yeah, I do think the main game-changing play there was the Toxic on Snorlax. Absolutely. I feel like if I could have avoided the Toxic on Snorlax, I feel like I could have went for an Auroraville, and that would have allowed me to maybe bulk out this game with a combination of Auroraville, Berry Muck, and then Berry Snorlax. I feel like I would have been able to recycle and do a couple of different things there without that Toxic. So I feel like that Toxic was huge. Once again though, his Torkoal did have Clear Smog though, so there was also a chance that would have been a little too much for me to deal with, especially after he got a Trick Room up. There would have been a chance that him being able to then disallow me to have the Belly Drum boost, and then but still lower my health because of the fact I'm going for it. That would have also maybe put him in a good spot. So I feel like one, the matchup was off, but I also was just not prioritizing the right things and overcompensating for certain things. So I feel like he just played it really, really well. And then some, like, especially in this game, the second game, one play changed it, and that was a Toxic. With that Toxic on Snorlax, all my marbles were in Snorlax as an offensive threat. So with it Toxic, it just really disallowed it for the rest of the team to just ride on its back. So good game. GG's to Lou though. He played really well. Do you have any other thoughts about this game?
I was gonna say, Lou, he played very well. He made very good reads. He made very safe plays, and a lot of them paid off. Also, I really like the synergy in Lou's team. It can run Trick Room, and it doesn't need Trick Room. The Sun supports Arcanine, and Trick Room supports Torkoal, and Bulu supports the Bulldoze, and Lele and Metagross. There's just so many options with Torkoal teams, especially with this one that Lou has. It's very impressive that it's almost impossible to really know what he's going to do unless you're like completely in his mind. So very impressive. I thought you both played very well. That second game, Toxic and those reads just put you behind, and it was just kind of too much for you to come back from. And and that's Pokemon. You know, it can be one turn that decides the game, and that's why you got to be very careful about your choices.
Yeah, 100%. And it does look like once VGC 18 comes about, I'm gonna need another rematch against Lou, because with the rust that I currently have and with the quality of this team he has, I know my team is nowhere near the quality of his when it comes to synergy and overall practice with the team. He did tell me after this game that this was a team that he actually did want to bring to Worlds, but he was actually not confident enough in its Smurgle matchup to bring it to Worlds. He didn't want to face too many Smurgles and then just lose because of that, so he didn't end up bringing it. I do think this team's really, really good. I can't currently say how good I think its Smurgle matchup is. I can definitely see it struggling with that, considering that it does have some slower threats than Smurgle, and it doesn't really have anything to compensate for a Spore. But overall, though, if you're not facing a Smurgle, I do think this team is really, really strong, and that he definitely knows how to play it well, play the team well. So he's definitely been practicing with this team a lot. So I can't wait for VGC 18 so I can get back at him. And but I do appreciate him being a part of this money match. We had $25 on the line in this one, so Lou just went home with $25 richer than he was before we had this battle. So very much so worth his time. So I definitely encourage more of you guys to come out, and when we do have our next wager Monday, wager up. Even if it's $5, you'll be $5 richer if you're confident in your skills, and we can get more of these fantastic VGC battles going and build some real rivalries here. Me and Luke definitely have some history now, and I need to get back at him, and I'll do that once we have the VGC 18 format. He's already testing stuff for that too. Feels really confident in some of the things he's testing, but I feel like that's more of a format that I feel a little bit more confident in, since it does resemble 15 a decent bit, and yep. I played literally an absurd amount of VGC 15. It was unhealthy. So we should definitely be more on a little bit more even playing field when it comes to that. But thank you so much for joining me in this commentary, Preston. Definitely really appreciated some of your insight and some of the things you noticed that I didn't particularly notice in this game.
Hey man, I love it, dude. I've never gotten to commentate before, and it's fun to practice. You know. To pretend you're on the big screen.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely really fun to practice, and just it's a different way of looking at a Pokemon,
exactly.
Looking at games, because you're not commentating on your thought process in the game. In your aspect, I was commentating on my thought process, but in your retrospect, you were just commentating on what you thought both of us were thinking and kind of just how you thought the matchup looked. So that's how actual commentating when it comes to regionals and everything really does go down. So it's cool to be able to see that aspect of Pokemon, and it really does give you a deeper understanding of the game, this game that we all love to play, even though it is a little bit flawed. But thank you so much for joining me. Thanks to Lou once again for coming out for this VGC money match. Really fun to be able to play against him. He's a battler that I very much so have a lot of respect for, and I think is really good, and I can't wait to see what he's able to accomplish in VGC 18. He's also going to be at Dallas Regionals just as I am, so maybe we'll end up playing each other again there, and maybe that's where I'll be able to get my revenge. But it should be interesting. VGC 18 as a whole is what goes down in that. We just had internationals wrap up now. London Internationals did just finish. Well, it didn't fully wrap up.
I think it finishes tomorrow.
Yeah, the end of it. Yeah, tomorrow it'll fully finish, and we've seen so many interesting Pokemon. Cool. Celesteela seems to be making a comeback now, so there's been a lot of interesting things that went down there as well. Do expect us. We may be doing like a VGC 17 recap, me and Preston, like our final thoughts on what we thought of VGC 17, what we think kind of how the format developed throughout its entirety, where it ranks as a format for us through the formats that we played, and just kind of like wrapping it up, because it's been a long year and there's a lot that's went down, and VGC 17's been around for a while now. We've been playing this format for a while. This is the second London International that was still VGC 17, so you could kind of get a picture there of how long that this format's been around. So we may do a little wrap up of VGC 17. Overall though, well, I can't wait to get into 18 though. But thank you guys once again. Thank you just so much for tuning in. We're gonna get the heck out of here. Thank you once again, Preston. And
no problem.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next VGC money match. Can't wait to see who else we do have on tap against each other. For now though, guys, we're signing out. Peace.
Take care, guys.